Let's talk Aztecs. You know, the pyramids, the gold, the human sacrifices. But let's start with their wild origin story. Their god, Huitzilopochtli, told them to find an eagle on a cactus eating a snake. Not exactly your average real estate ad, and they found it, smack in the middle of Lake Texcoco, a mosquito-infested swamp. Most would have kept walking, but the Aztecs said, "This is it, home." They built Tenochtitlán on that swamp, using genius engineering, chinampas, artificial islands for farming. These floating gardens grew everything from maize to tomatoes, right on the water. They built causeways to connect their city to the mainland. Think Venice, but with more chili peppers. By the early 1500s, Tenochtitlan was one of the world's largest cities with hundreds of thousands of people. It had pyramids, palaces and markets buzzing with goods from across the empire. Picture Times Square but with canoes instead of taxis and temples instead of billboards. This was the heart of a powerful civilization, all sparked by a divine lunch break. The Aztecs turned a swamp into a metropolis. Talk about commitment. Their city was vibrant, innovative, and unlike anything Europe had ever seen. And it all started with a vision and a lot of mud. The hustle was real. Tenochtitlan became a symbol of Aztec ingenuity and ambition. Not bad for a place most people would have skipped. Sometimes greatness starts in the unlikeliest places. The Aztecs called themselves the Mexica. Yep, that's where Mexico comes from. Their origin? A legendary migration from a place called Aztlan, location still a mystery. For generations they wandered, often working as mercenaries, rarely welcomed. But in 1428 everything changed. They formed the Triple Alliance with Texcoco and Tlacopan. Think of it as an ancient supergroup, except their instruments were obsidian swords. Together, they launched the Aztec Empire, expanding fast. Their rule wasn't direct, it was a tribute system. Conquered cities kept their leaders but had to pay up. Food, gold, feathers, jaguar pelts. Miss a payment? The Aztecs sent warriors, not reminders. This model made them rich and powerful, but also deeply resented. The empire grew rapidly, dominating central Mexico. The Mexica went from outsiders to rulers in less than a century. Their rise was fueled by alliances, warfare, and a knack for organization. The Aztec Glow-Up was real, ambitious, relentless, and unstoppable. From wanderers to empire builders, their transformation was legendary. And it all started with a long walk and a lot of determination. Life in the Aztec Empire was structured. Emperor at the top, nobles and priests next, then commoners and slaves. Social mobility was tough, but bravery in war could change your fate. Religion was everything. Their gods, Huitzilopochtli, Tlaloc, Quetzalcoatl, demanded respect and, yes, human sacrifice. They believed blood kept the sun rising and the world in balance. But Aztec life wasn't all about appeasing the gods. Most people were farmers, growing maize, beans, and squash. Artisans crafted stunning pottery, featherwork, and jewelry. Markets thrived, trading everything from food to exotic goods. They had schools for both commoners and nobles, teaching practical skills and leadership. The Aztecs were brilliant astronomers and mathematicians with two complex calendars. Their poetry, music, and architecture were world-class. Medicine? They used herbs and plants for healing, so yes, sacrifices happened. But the Aztecs were a creative, sophisticated civilization. While the Aztecs thrived, Spain was busy exploring and conquering. Enter Hernán Cortés, ambitious, ruthless, and hungry for gold. In 1519 he sailed from Cuba with a few hundred men, horses, and cannons. His real goal? Conquest, not just exploration. Meanwhile, Emperor Montezuma ruled a vast, uneasy empire. Strange omens, comets, fires, boiling lakes unsettled the Aztecs. Then came reports of floating mountains, Spanish ships, and pale, bearded men in metal. Horses and guns were alien to the Aztecs. Imagine seeing that for the first time. Montezuma was rattled. Gods, monsters, or just very aggressive tourists? The Spanish arrival was a shockwave. No one knew what would happen next. The stage was set for a collision of worlds. The Aztecs braced for the unknown. History was about to change forever. Cortés landed, burned his ships, no turning back. He quickly realized many locals hated Aztec rule, so he made powerful alliances, especially with the Tlaxcalans. With thousands of indigenous allies, Cortés marched toward Tenochtitlan. In November 1519, he met Montezuma, two leaders from different worlds face to face. Montezuma welcomed Cortés, maybe seeing him as a god, maybe as a threat. The Spanish were treated as guests, showered with gifts. But Cortés, fearing a trap, took Montezuma hostage in his own palace. Suddenly the emperor was a puppet and the city was on edge. The Aztec people grew restless, their ruler now a prisoner. Tensions soared as the Spanish grip tightened. What started as diplomacy turned into a standoff. The balance of power shifted overnight. The fate of the empire hung in the balance. Cortés gambled everything, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The city simmered, ready to explode. With Montezuma hostage, Cortés tried to rule through him, but the city was a powder keg. Cortés left briefly. His lieutenant Alvarado massacred Aztec nobles during a festival, sparking revolt. When Cortés returned, Tenochtitlán was in chaos. The Spanish tried to flee, loaded with stolen gold, but the Aztecs struck back. La Noche Triste, the sad night, saw many Spaniards killed or drowned as they escaped. Montezuma died, how exactly is still debated. Cortés barely survived, but he wasn't done. He regrouped with allies, built ships to control Lake Texcoco, and prepared for a siege. In May 1521, the final assault began. The Spanish cut off food and water, blockaded the city, and attacked relentlessly. The Aztecs, led by young Emperor Cuauhtémoc, fought fiercely street by street, but smallpox brought by the Europeans devastated the population. Disease killed more than the fighting ever could. The siege was brutal. Starvation, sickness, and violence everywhere. Tenochtitlán's defenders held out as long as they could, but the odds were impossible. The city's fall was inevitable. The Aztec Empire was on the brink. After 80 days of siege, Tenochtitlán fell on August 13, 1521. The city was in ruins, its last emperor captured. The Aztec Empire was finished. The Spanish built Mexico City atop the ruins, using stones from Aztec temples. The survivors faced forced labor and religious conversion, yet the Aztec legacy endures. Nahuatl words, chocolate, tomato, avocado, chili live on in our languages. Aztec cuisine shaped Mexican food, a global favorite. Archaeology keeps revealing new secrets beneath modern Mexico City. The Templo Mayor, rediscovered in the 1970s, reminds us, history is just below our feet. The Aztecs were builders, artists, and warriors, complex, creative, and resilient. Their story is one of ambition, tragedy, and survival. The conquest was a clash of civilizations with lasting echoes. Every taco, every word, every artifact is a piece of their legacy. The Aztecs' rise and fall still fascinates and warns us today. Their story isn't just history, it's part of who we are.